Hello, and welcome to another segment of Mind Your Business. Today, we will be discussing minorities in nonprofits with Dr. Ro. Dr. Ro is considered a pioneer in the nonprofit sector and created history as the CEO and founder of the first national nonprofit minority association in the world. She was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Her educational background is solid with the following degrees: a BA, MA, and PhD. She is considered an expert in the field of nonprofit development and management. She has spent years dedicating her time to learning and nonprofits. Her love and passion has taken her across the world, coaching and developing future nonprofit leaders. Dr. Ro created the first online Facebook group entitled Blacks in Nonprofits. This community is open to African Americans all across the world and is growing rapidly. Her mission in life is helping others to reach their full potential and giving back to her community. She believes in being a blessing to others. She established nonprofit Newbies Consulting LLC based out of St. Louis, Missouri, and founded the phenomenal I Am Women's Conference series that provides encouragement, empowerment, and network opportunities for women of all backgrounds. However, her proudest accomplishment is becoming a proud and loving mother to 3 amazing children who she proudly declares are her reasons why she goes on so hard in life. So we thank you for joining in today. We ask you, if you have any comments, to go ahead and leave them in the comment box, and we will make sure that Dr. Ro is able to answer them. And now at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Ro to the show.
Hi,
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am good. Thank you so much for joining me today, taking the time out and coming and sharing your information. It is going to be very rewarding for others out there to get to know a little bit more about what you do and have some insight and know what they need to do to try to get into the nonprofit sector. So with no further ado, go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us who you are and why you decided to start this organization.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Ro, and thanks so much to Tamika for inviting me on today. I'm super excited. Anytime I have an opportunity to talk to people about the importance of nonprofits and the work that so many people around the world are doing in their communities and really making a strong difference, I truly am honored to be here on today. I started the first National Nonprofit Minority Association about 17 weeks ago, believe it or not. And it's just been growing like crazy. I'm a strong believer, and I just know that God is opening up so many doors and just bringing the right people my way to help grow it and to help get the word out on what we're doing and what we're trying to do and what we are going to do. I should change that is we're bringing nonprofits, minority nonprofits in particular, all across the world together under our association to provide resources, tips, tools, the things that they need. Because I found that most nonprofits, once they get started, they get their 501c3 and then they come back and they're like, okay, now what? What do I do now? How do I grow my nonprofit? How do I get connected with other people that are doing the same thing in the nonprofit sector? And they just feel stuck. So that's where the association comes in. We help them get started. And not only that, after they get started, we are like a steady stream of resources and classes and webinars and mentorship throughout the whole duration of nonprofits becoming one. So that's a really huge portion that people are like, man, thank you so much for creating this. And thank you so much for creating it for minorities, because sometimes we are overlooked when it comes to funding, when it comes to resources, when it comes to just the overall knowledge of what's all out there for us in the nonprofit sector. So we are shining the light on so many of those issues that are being tackled, I should say, or we are overcoming them. And then also with Blacks in Nonprofits, which is where I met you at. That's our amazing group on Facebook. And literally the group grows by like 1,000 people per month. And it's truly a blessing to see so many people of color coming together and sharing, and really caring about each other and wanting to see each other succeed in the nonprofit sector. So I'm excited.
And I'm excited for you. I my business is for profit, but I do work with a lot of nonprofits, and it's good to understand, especially for minorities, what the resources are and what we need to do, because so often we are left behind and not understanding where to go or what to do. So I just want to know where this creative mind came from and what inspired you to create this association and to bring this to the forefront.
So I've been in the nonprofit sector for going on almost 13 years now. And when I was doing the consulting, I realized that so many of my clients, I would help them start their nonprofit. And then after they got to the 501c3 status, which is tax exempt, then they would come back and they would have so many questions. Okay, now that I'm here, now where do I go? Who can I connect with? Who can I collaborate with? And they would still need the extra mentorship. The one-on-ones was still needed. The telephone calls were just like a quick question. They needed somebody to fill in that gap. And then I started doing a lot of speaking engagements for nonprofits, on nonprofit startup in particular. And then one day I just realized I was speaking at a conference and I realized, hey, like you're preaching to the wrong audience, because I was literally one of the only Black people that was there. And I looked out in the audience and just something in my spirit just was dropped. And it was like, hey, you're preaching to the wrong audience. They're here. They just paid $250 to attend this conference. But the people that really need this information, they're not here, what you're giving out to this audience. And so I went back and I thought about it and I reached out to my network of people and I'm like, hey, what are you guys missing? Like, what is the gap that needs to be filled? And this was to my consultants friends first. And they're like, man, we need this. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. And then I went to my clients and asked them, okay, what are you guys lacking in the nonprofit sector? And then before I knew it, I had two different lists, very distinctive. But at the same time, the common thread was nonprofits. Like we're a circle, and nonprofits need the business owners that provide the service to them. And the business owners need the nonprofits to patronize their business so we all can stay afloat in this circle. And so I went on Facebook. There was nothing out there that was created where it was bridging the gap, where you can have consultants, you can have graphic designers, you can have all of these people that provide a service directly in front of their audience. And so that's how the Blacks and Nonprofits group on Facebook was created. The mastermind behind it, or the thought process behind it, was if we can bridge the gap and actually start to learn how to trust each other again, as minorities, as people of color, to be able to trust each other first off, and then build and establish these relationships that can now turn into, hey, my business is not on the verge of closing anymore. My business is now thriving because I have clients, that can help me keep my business afloat. And then it was not so much as, hey, I am so lost to my nonprofit, I'm about to shut it down because I feel like I'm the only person out here that's working hard and, using my own money to keep this thing going. And it turns into, man, I'm not the only one. How are you guys doing it? Okay, dang, I see this person doing it. I see that person doing it. Well, I can do it. I can get the resources and tips, tools I need. And I feel, energized. I feel motivated to continue on. And that's what it's about.
Well, that's awesome. So what would make someone choose to go into nonprofit versus a profit organization?
Well, I think the most obvious one is that people in the nonprofit sector, they do it from the heart. They're more heart front, and they understand that the income will come because all nonprofits need an income to stay afloat. But the main thing is that we want to help people and really be the voice of reason in the community, or they have a passion for doing something that gives towards others. And so the main focus is not to actually make that profit, is to help. And the for-profit side is more so, I need to make this profit. And then when I make my profit, of course, it's helping people, but the more weight is on the profit side. So
I understand. And so that's what led me to you and your organization. And when I joined the group, because when I started my business, I wanted it to be nonprofit. And so at that point, I'm just like, I don't know which way to go, what direction to go into, and what should I do, because I'm all about serving and being a servant. And so I know there's a lot of information out there. Even with myself, with starting up, I had to do all the legwork myself. I had to pour in. It was blood, sweat, and tears to get
Yeah.
this thing off the ground. And so, sometimes we get shut down because we don't have the resources and we don't have the help. But I did the research and I did the work, and I put programs together. And so when I was able to launch my business, I was still at the moment of, I want this to be nonprofit, but I don't know if I'm able to present a nonprofit business. And
Mhm.
so now this leads me to this platform,
Okay.
because the reason why I created this platform is to give others something that they can have a voice for, something that they can talk about their passions, or talk about their resources, or talk about the businesses that they've started and how to help others start those businesses. And so
Mhm.
truthfully, I never started to get a profit. That was never my intention. My
Mhm.
intention was always to do actually what I am doing now. It just happened that I don't have the nonprofit things in place. And so that's what, again, I said I was drawn to you, because I was looking and researching the different things. And when I came across you, I was like, wow, I
Mhm.
really want to learn some more information, because
Yeah.
this thing is still new. It just got off the ground. I just launched it August 1st. And I'm a mindful coach. And so what I usually do is try to help people understand what's holding them back and what's stopping them from being able to attain the life that they want to live. And a lot of times we hear that we've got to do this or do that or whatever. And it's like, no, all of that comes within, and we just got to get that other stuff out of the way. But
Yeah.
oftentimes we don't have the support systems, and we don't have the people that are
Mhm.
there to lend a helping hand. And if you do turn to someone, they want a profit, they want to make money off of it. And so
Mhm.
I do understand that part of it. But as
Yeah.
far as being someone, a friend to the community that can lend resources, that can help you identify what's missing and where the gaps are to help you to be successful, I believe that is a great thing. And we all could benefit from that, because when everyone is uplifted, it makes us all better, And so if you see someone that needs some help, and you've been there before, pull them up. And that's the point that I'm at right now. And so again, that's why I created this platform for people like yourself that can come on and let people know, hey, there's other people that are out here that are doing stuff, that are support, because sometimes the people that are in your circle aren't necessarily your support, and you have to learn how to network, and you have to learn how to reach out to be able to bring those people in that have the same likeness and have the same thought processes that you have, that can help bring that vision to life. So I applaud you for what you're doing. And I want to ask, is this something that you have created on your own? Do you have a team? Are you in a partnership? How does the operation all come together?
So I do have an amazing team. We have an admin team that help me run Blacks and Nonprofits. I have a association team that helps me run the association, and then also advisory board, a regular board. So around a really good, strong group of individuals that believe in the vision, believe in the mission, and we want to help as many minority nonprofits as possible. So we're getting the word out. We're really hitting the streets and just being active, because that's the main, portion. Is a lot of people say what they're going to do, but then
Hmm.
they don't do it. So we are calling people to be people of action going into 2021. We're resetting our nonprofits. We're going about it the right way now, so we can start to see and be the change that we want to, see in our world.
Okay. What does it take for someone to be able to work with you in their nonprofit? Do you just focus on certain types of nonprofits, or is it anyone that wants a nonprofit, or what does it have to stem from?
So, to be a member of the association, anyone can become a member of the association. We have elite membership, and we also work with the business owners, and they can become a business member. So our mentorship program covers people that are starting their nonprofit all the way up to people that have had their nonprofit for 20 years. We have live experts that come on every week and pour into the nonprofits with the goal of helping take your nonprofit to the next level, whatever level that is for yourself. We literally have classes and seminars and webinars on every topic you can think of relating to the nonprofit sector. So anyone can literally become a part of the association, and we're looking for people that are in the nonprofit sector to join Black to Nonprofits, which is totally free on Facebook, to be a part of that community.
Okay. So as far as getting involved with the association, is there a cost that goes along with that, or what does that look like, an application process, or how do they reach out to get in touch with you?
So, for people that are looking to become members of the National Nonprofit Minority Association, you can go to our website, and we have two different membership options. Again, the first one is the Elite, and the Elite is $119 per year or $12 a month.
Okay.
And then the business is for business members who provide a service to nonprofits. So you're looking at like grant writers, you're looking at graphic designers, tax consultants, um, marketing, Facebook, people that help you with that, and pretty much anything that you can think of, nonprofit insurance. Any of those providers would get a business membership, and that's $239 for the year or $22 a month. So we have the monthly options for people that the monthly would suit better, or we have some members that just pay the full year up front. So it just depends on where you want to come in at.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really reasonable and affordable. And
Yeah.
um, do you have coaches? Is it a one-on-one? Is it a group thing? How do you actually work within the nonprofit?
So you do get one-on-one sessions, and you do get mentorship from a variety of our coaches. They're all experts. They are all business members, and that's one of the perks for being a business member is that you do get a chance to pour back into your community. A lot of times, people have their business and their consultant, but they may also have a class, and you would be able to come in and teach a class to the mentorship group as a business member. That's one of the perks. And also, becoming a business member, you get to do your advertising and promoting the different conferences that you have coming up, the different workshops that you have coming up. And then we do a business member spotlight. So your business has an opportunity to get highlighted. And we have the nonprofit marketplace, which is basically a whole hub for nonprofits to be able to go in there and get what they need as far as, hey, I want to know if this consultant is a good consultant or not. You can go inside the marketplace and see how many stars has people ranked them, at. And everyone in the marketplace is vetted by the National Nonprofit Minority Association, which is another thing that's hard for people, especially minorities, to do, is to trust and spend their money on a consultant, because they're like, man, I don't know this consultant, so I don't know, I want to spend my money. But you have at least a peace of mind knowing that we've already kind of interviewed these people, and they're good business providers, and it's somewhere that you should feel comfortable with pursuing their services. So it makes people feel so much more comfortable.
Absolutely. And I believe right now with the technology that we have and everything, it helps us to be connected even better and to be able to find more resources, because maybe if there's not in your community, in your own community, now we have this global site that we can come to and say, hey, there's help out there. And so when you are helping people in different parts of the country, how does that work? I mean, what does it take, as far as, is it just it's online, or do you have certain people in those states, or anyone that they can reach out to? How does that work?
So we do have city chapters, but if you're a part of mentorship, it's online. We do all our classes via Zoom. So if you miss a session, you're able to go back and watch the replay. We have several people from Africa that's participating in our mentorship group. Of course, they're in a totally different time zone than what we're on, so they always catch the replay. But that's the benefit of having a replay option, is that not everyone's able to make it every single Wednesday night for mentorship. So if you can't make it, then you always know that you can go back and watch it at your leisure, and you're not missing out on any of the information that's being provided. So people seem to really love that feature, and it works well.
Yeah. So, what do you tell people that, again, when they come to you and they are wanting to shut down and they haven't really decided that they're going to move forward? What do you do to help them to know that it's something that they should continue with, or maybe they shouldn't continue with it? Do you help them either way?
Yeah, I do. I like to do strategy calls or sessions with people to see exactly where they're at and to see what they need. Because 9 times out of 10, we have an expert that can help you with whatever you're stuck at. And whether that's setting up a one-on-one with them, or whether that's coming into, the mentorship and they do a group presentation and it'll help you get unstuck. But the main part is just realizing why you started it. So many times people forget what their why is, and your
Mm-hmm.
why literally carries you on the days that you want to quit. So like the days that I may feel like, you know what, this is not for me, I look at my babies and I'm like, okay, this has to be for me, because I can't quit. Because if I quit on myself, then what example am I showing them? So when difficult times happen, the funds are not coming in as fast as you would have liked, the grants are not happening, you can't find anybody to collaborate with, just going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, what can I do different, to get a different outcome? We all know what insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. So I just challenge them to say, okay, let's look at the basics. Let's look at the foundation where you started from. 9 times out of 10, it's just a foundational issue that they didn't structure correctly done to move forward. So it's just like a house. If you're building a house and you have an unstable foundation, the more you put on it, eventually it's going to crumble and fall. So you have to make sure that your foundation is built strong to start to withhold all the different layers that a nonprofit definitely brings and has. It's very emotional ride, it's a physical ride, and it's a legal commitment
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of times people are not aware of, that starting a nonprofit is more than just the yes factor where you say, yes, I want to do this. But after you say yes, you got that initial commitment. Are you going to stay committed to growing it? Are you going to put in the work that it takes to sustain it? Those are the questions that, I follow up with. Okay, so you have your nonprofit, you've done a great job, but how are you going to put in the work to start to sustain it? And then really coming up with a plan of action to get them back on the right track.
Okay. Um, what are what are the benefits of the nonprofit to the organization, as far as to start the nonprofit? What does that benefit others to be able to, as far as the business owners, to pour into the nonprofit?
Well, I mean, as far as business owners, you can give donations, monetary donations, and you can get write-offs for those. Some people donate school supplies and they get to write those off. Some people donate computers. I've even seen business owners, car dealerships donate whole vehicles, trucks, vans, cars, you name it. Um, I've seen refrigerators donated. So it's really no limits when it comes to the nonprofit arena. And whatever you can possibly think of, there's probably a grant for that, which people wouldn't even think. But there's so many grants out there for things to help with the funding side. And business owners are not, immune to that, being able to show their support for nonprofits. You can do, like, restaurants can step up and start doing like a nonprofit day. Pick a nonprofit in your community and, let people come in and patronize your business, but you give a small portion back towards the nonprofit. That's just small little changes that we can start doing if we all literally start to think like, how can we really come together and start to help?
Yeah, that's great. I think that what you're doing, it takes a lot of heart and a lot of passion and commitment. And so, how hard is it for you to invest your time and be a mom to this to this? Because I can tell that it's your baby as well. So how
Yeah.
much effort and hard work do you have to put in it? And then as far as with your children, like how does that affect your life as a whole?
So, literally being a mom and being the executive director over association and running a large group, it can be time consuming, and you just have to learn how to prioritize. So, at a certain time, I just shut it off and say, hey, now I'm jumping into mommy mode, and everything else will have to wait until tomorrow. If God blesses me with another day, then it would be there
Hmm.
for me to handle. And if not, I have a team in place that can handle it. So I don't try to stress out and worry about the things that I can't change. Change is definitely something that happens over time if it's not immediate. So you just have to have the right mindset and going into it and thinking about it. And then I try to involve my kiddos in the nonprofit as much as I can, because if they understand what mommy's doing, then they're more willing to say, hey, okay, she's on a conference call. I know what that is. Hop by, go and get it, versus leaving them out and they just don't feel like they're a part of it. So my daughter, she rocks the Blacks and Nonprofits hoodie. She's all a part of the swag team. She's like, no, we need to design this type of hoodie. It needs to zip up and down instead of just the pullover. So she's super excited about just being a part and just knowing what's going on. In the same way with all of the other kids that are involved. We have so many people in Blacks and Nonprofits. They like, yeah, my kids are, super excited that, I'm a part of this group and I'm doing this stuff. So I get like tons of testimonies that come in all the time of people now starting to encourage their kids to be a part of what they have
Hmm.
going on. Because before it was more like exclusive, like, no, this is what I'm doing, leave the kids at home,
Hmm.
and I'm gone away from the house, and they don't really get to see what you're actually doing. You just tell them. So I started to bring them along with me and just let them see what I do. And mine are pretty much used to me being an entrepreneur. I have my conference series, Phenomenal and Women's Conference, and I do 4 conferences a year. So they're right there at the conference, seeing everything and seeing the hard work that goes into putting on an event. So now that they can, help, they like, Mom, the chairs need to be set up like this. So they're kind of old enough to know from seeing and experiencing it themselves.
Yeah. I don't think that people really understand how important it is to have family involvement, because
Mhm.
we often find that mom is off working or dad is off working and the children are pretty much at home raising themselves and doing after school programs. But I believe, like, from a biblical perspective, even in the beginning, he had the family working together. And so if
Mhm.
we are working together, we're building that legacy, and that's something that we can continue to pass down. But I think that's what is like kind of ripped us apart as families, because everybody has to leave the house and then there's no time for family. But if we, like you say, you have your children involved. And my little girl, when she was little and I'd go to board meetings, she'd be sitting over there. I'd say, take notes for mommy. And so we would come home. And so the very first time that I started to do this, I had her interview me. I'm like, I need you to interview me. And so she always knew. And she's like, well, I'm going to be your secretary. And so I agree. And I understand that having them to be involved, they understand and they respect that. And then it gives them something to aspire to as well. Um, as far as in the minority community,
Mhm.
what do you think it is that holds us back from trying to start a business, a nonprofit? Is it a lack of resources, or is it a lack of knowledge? Is it a learned behavior? What do you think it is, and what do we need to do to bridge that gap and let everyone know that there's a piece of the pie for everybody out here?
I definitely think that it's a mixture of all of those actually, and a little bit of the fear factor. A lot of people don't like to go into territories that's unknown. We love the familiar. We love doing things that we feel comfortable with doing, and most of the times people feel comfortable doing stuff that they know how to do, right? So if you've never started a business before, you've never started a nonprofit before, of course it may be scary, it may be overwhelming because of the unknown factor. And then to mix what you said, the resources. Like sometimes you don't have money to just open up your own business right now. So a lot of times people are in that little crossfire where they're working hard to save up to start their own business, or they're working at their 9 to 5 so they can put money aside so they can have enough money to start their nonprofits. So it's not a matter of if the resources are available. Sometimes they're available, but we're the ones that create it. We're the ones that's working hard to get the resources to start whatever we're wanting to start in the business arena. And then also the lack of knowledge. Most of the times people start nonprofits not because they've researched, okay, this is what I want to do to start a nonprofit. Minorities in general, they start nonprofits because they have a passion for doing something, right?
Mhm.
And it may be something like feeding the homeless, and you go feed the homeless. God puts it on your heart to go feed the homeless one time, and then you invite family, friends out, and then auntie so and so say, hey girl, you should start a nonprofit because you can get money, you can get paid to do this, right? And then now such and such goes, runs, and starts as a nonprofit, but they don't realize the legal side
Mhm.
of it. They don't realize the physical side of it, and they don't realize how emotionally connected you are to your nonprofit. So now they're in that stuck feeling. And in order to get unstuck, since they don't know, they're either going to YouTube to find out answers, they're possibly reading books or going out to grab some books to help, or they're, searching Facebook for free groups to be a part of. And then booking consultants, or paying somebody to help them go back to the foundation to say, okay, hey, I'm in this thing but I'm lost, I'm stuck, like
Mhm.
please help me. So it's a mixture of all of those: the fear, not having resources, and not being fully educated or aware of everything that goes into starting a nonprofit and starting a business.
Yeah. So, what would you say are the biggest misconceptions of nonprofits?
That nonprofits cannot make money, that nonprofits, are a piece of cake, that anybody can
Mhm.
start a nonprofit, which is true. Anybody can start a nonprofit, but not everybody has the right heart to sustain in a
Absolutely.
nonprofit. It is a sustaining type of business where year after year after year you have to put in. And what you put in, you can expect to get out. It's almost like sowing seeds. You sow your seed and then you watch it, you keep watering it, you keep looking after it, and then it will start to blossom. It's just not an overnight, you plant the seed and tomorrow you come back and you got this big tree. So it takes time. And then the other part is that nonprofits cannot make any money, which that's like a huge misconception. Nonprofits need money. You need to kind of run it like your business, actually,
Mhm.
with a business mindset, because funding and being able to get grants and being grant ready and all of that stuff will literally play a factor with the successfulness of your nonprofit. So going in with the right mindset that yes, my nonprofit does need money to survive.
Mhm. So, do you work with just people on a personal level, like regular people, or do you do organizations or churches, or how does that work?
I personally work with individuals. I have reached out to some groups, or some groups have reached out to me, vice versa, with the potential to do some partnerships. And a lot of partnerships want to partner with the association to do great things. And, I'm all for it. I believe in collaborating and networking and continuing to meet amazing people literally all over the world. So, one-on-ones. I have nonprofit newbies consulting, which is my own for-profit business, and people can go and book one-on-one consultations with me to learn, how to start their business up. And I've had churches book those, and individuals. So it just depends.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So, before we get off, we've got just a little bit more time, but before we get off, if you don't mind just giving the information to where the people can contact you. I wanted to find out though, when someone reaches out to you, is the initial consultation, is that a free service, or is there a fee for that? Or what do they need to do to get just some information to find out if they want to work with your organization or
So
become a part of it?
So yeah, you guys can always go on our website, the National nonprofitminorityAssociation.org. So the website again is National Nonprofit Minority Association.org. And then if you want to reach out to me and have a conversation and see if what your organization needs to get to the next level, or if you're just have an idea and you want to know, hey, can I turn this into a nonprofit, or what's the steps that I need to do, you can always reach out. The number is 314-677-1006. And that number is also listed on our website. So it's totally public information, and I have people calling me all day long with questions, with how tos, and I want to join the association, but can you explain a little bit more for me? I saw this. Can you explain the mentorship program? So I definitely welcome those types of phone calls. I'm more of an interactive person anyway, so I would prefer you give me a call and let me hear your heart through the phone, and you can hear mine and the passion and drive behind it. And then hopefully it's not a stranger that ended up hanging up the phone. It's more so, hey man, that's a cool person. I feel like if we were on the phone again, we would still be able to gel and find out so many more things about each other. So that's what I hope each phone call from someone that I don't know, and they say, hey, Dr. Ro, I heard about you, or I heard about the association, or I saw you on Facebook, or I saw you on this person's podcast, or whatever the case may be. When they do reach out to me, I want the conversation to be pleasant. I want them to leave the conversation feeling uplifted, feeling like they can literally do anything in this whole world, because you really can if you put your mindset to it. And mindset is so important. So that website is actually National Nonprofit Minority Association.
National Nonprofit Minority. Okay, I was going to ask you to let me know if that was correct or not. So, when I very first reached out to you, often sometimes people will put up things and they're so big and larger than life, and when you go to them they act like they don't have time for you, or they're not interested in what you have to say. And I'm just telling you, you were just so inviting and so welcoming to be open to what I was telling you and to hear what I had to say. And so I just applaud you for taking the time to lend your ear, to listen, and to say, even because I felt like when I was reaching out to you, if you saw something that was like, well, you know what, this is why I don't think it's a good idea and I don't want to be a part of it. But I think you saw the vision that I had for this platform. And it was still new at that point. I'm like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. And I'm like, it's pretty much like cold calling people that God puts me before, that has a gift or that has something that someone can benefit from. And so, when you talk to me, I just, again, when you said when you get off the phone, I did feel uplifted and I felt encouraged. And I'm like, okay, I really feel like I'm doing the right thing, being able to connect people to resources and to help them to see that, you don't have to be stuck. There's someone out there that can point you in the right direction. And so yesterday we had someone on that talked about insurance and finances and your future. And so I think that this is just good as far as helping us to build each other up and to understand our foundation. And if we feel broken or if we feel like we're not in a good place, we can start fresh and we can see, oh, wow, this person did it or that person did it, and they understand what it is to not have someone to lean on or to talk to, not because you need monetary resources sometimes, but just because you need somebody to understand your vision and help get that vision brought to life. So, what would you say to someone that is wanting to start a nonprofit, but they really don't know what nonprofit they want to start? They want to serve, they want to do something, like you said, go out and donate food or hand out food, and then the auntie says, let's start this nonprofit. But when they look at that and say, well, really, I don't like serving food, but I like serving people. How would you help them to, determine what it is that they need to do and what their focus is?
Well, I would definitely say, first off, find something that you love and that you are seriously and severely passionate about, because your passion will get you out of bed when you don't want to. And really think about the commitment and how much time you have to dedicate to your nonprofit. and think about the people that you have in your corner that can help you with your nonprofit, because having a solid team around you will really make or break your nonprofit, and having a strong board will make or break your nonprofit as well. So those are the things that you really have to consider, and saying, okay, how much time and energy am I willing to put into my nonprofit to make it successful, and really have a crystal clear mindset of, I'm not going to stop, be
Mm-hmm.
unstoppable literally in your mindset, because so many things and so many barrels and so many hurdles will come. And if you just stop at the first one and say, oh, no, this is not for me, then you really don't have a warrior, what I say, a nonprofit warrior type of mentality, where you literally are going to war for your nonprofit, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got to get tough with it, and sometimes you got to tell people no, like, this is not lining up with the vision and my mission of my nonprofit, because not all doors that open for you are ones that you should walk through. So you have to pray for discernment. You got to pray that God sends the right people to help you with your nonprofit at the same time, and then really make strategic moves to take your nonprofit to the next level. But it all starts with having a clear vision on, this is what I want to do. So if feeding the homeless is what you're severely and seriously passionate about, yes, there's tons of nonprofits out there where people feed the homeless. But another thing is it wise for you to start the nonprofit, or is it wise for you to partner with somebody that's already doing the work that you
Yes.
want to do? So you can be severely passionate about serving, but doesn't mean that you have the time to run your nonprofit. So you can severely be passionate serving as a super volunteer for, somebody else's nonprofit that's putting in the work. So those are the types of conversations that we have right off the bat to see where their level of commitment is for it, and if they have the time and the mentality to actually start their nonprofits, and the personality, because you have to have an amazing personality when you're dealing with people. You have to be able to listen. Your leadership skills will be called upon. So it's a whole bunch of things that are required, in the person itself when they're starting.
Yeah. Now you mentioned boards, and I've had my share of board time. And so I've been on several boards, and I've been president of a couple of boards, and boards can become very interesting. So when putting together a board, what would you suggest, and what type of people would you say that you need to have on your board?
Quality people only. No, seriously, make sure you have some quality people on your board, people that are passionate about not only your cause, but they like you, Find people that really enjoy being around you and really enjoy doing the work that your nonprofit is doing. And that is half the battle. But then also finding people that personalities and their whole energy kind of matches yours, because I've seen so many boards that are just like in a disarray, because
Mhm.
everybody's personality is like conflicting and nobody can really come together. Nobody's listening and the whole 9 yards. So be very careful with, who you have on your board, and that they have the same passion behind, what you have going on with your board as well. So
What's the recommended number? I'm sorry.
I
What'd
said
you say?
careful selection. Be careful with the selection of your board members. I should say.
Absolutely. So, what's the number you would suggest to have on a board?
Always the odd number. So 5 or 7 is ideal.
Okay.
To keep it between those numbers. 5 or 7 is a good starting point. In most states, you need 3, however, to incorporate. So it can be as little as 3, as much as the minimum 5, literally, and then 7 is a good solid number. Some I've even seen 9 on the board, and some even more than that. But the more board members you have, the more people that you have to try to manage and keep together and figure out all of that stuff. So 5
Yeah.
is ideal.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Rowe, you have been very enlightening today. I really am so thankful that you took the time to come to the show and to share your information and share your gifts and your talents. Um, right now, at this point in time in your life, if you look back to when you were a little girl growing up, at that moment in time, did you see yourself where you are now, or is this something you grew into, or is this something you've always aspired to as far as being a servant in your community?
I would definitely say I've always had the helping heart. I've always been very community driven. I've always been, big and bright with the personality. Everybody kind of flocks towards me and always says I'm so positive and have a positive light that shines off. So being in this role today, I'm not really surprised. I was in my own private practice doing psychology work and counseling and things like that, but I realized I was more so needed out, in the world more so than just in my own private office
Mhm.
area dealing with the one on one. So the world was tugging me more so than the need to just help on the individual basis. So I chose to step out and expand my reach more and be more hands on in the community. So I'm definitely living a dream and living my dream. And like I said, I'm fulfilled and happy and blessed to be a blessing. And I definitely believe when you're a blessing to others, God turns around and blesses you. So each day that I have the opportunity to do so, it's definitely a great day for me.
That's awesome. You are definitely a blessing. I just want to ask you, where do you see the future of nonprofits?
I see it expanding. Matter of fact, it's already expanding. So many people are having the opportunity to start new nonprofits right now. So it's definitely a great time to step up. The world needs us as nonprofits, the communities need us. So, and the populations of people that nonprofits are serving, they need us. So it's definitely an amazing time to be a nonprofit and be in the nonprofit sector. I only see it continuing to grow, and hopefully more funding opportunities are presented to nonprofits that are actually out doing the work, putting in that work every day in their communities. Those are the people that my heart goes out to because they're constantly getting overlooked. And I want to be able to, under the association, bridge the gap and bring those opportunities for funding right to their fingertips, sorry, and be able to help them grow as well.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to working with you and networking with you and learning from you. And, I just think, again, you're doing such a great thing. And I commend you and congratulate you for all that you do. Before we leave, is there any words or any wisdom that you would like to share with anyone, or anything that stuck with you that's helped you get to where you are now?
Sure. Never be afraid to be great in your lane, be great in your space, because so many times we put on so many different hats and so many different outfits and things like that. But our authentic self is what we really have to appreciate and start to love on ourselves more and not beat ourselves up for not doing things and not getting there or not being a certain space yet, and just know that God's timing is always the best timing. So if it haven't happened yet, don't count yourself out. It doesn't mean that your time won't happen. Sometimes God takes people from the back of the line and put them in the front of the line just like that. And you sitting there wondering like how they get here. And I've been, working and busting my butt this whole time, but you never know their backstory. You don't know what they went through and you don't know how hard they pray. You don't know their story. So be great in your space and love and appreciate everything that you do have, because every day is not promised. And, each day that you do have, you have to wake up with the attitude of gratitude and be grateful and count your blessings and then continue to be a blessing to others. And if you
Yeah.
follow that, God's going to take care of you. You're going to be blessed and you can still walk in authority and people will recognize it.
Amen. Amen. We had a few people. Minister Judy May said that it's great to bring people together, and she applauds you for that. And then another one commented, Felice Burt said, not only board members who like you, but those have the need skill set to match your mission and needed services. And she said this was a very good and insightful interview. So we thank you again. And I'm going to put the information back up here, and then I'll just ask you, while I sign off, if you can just go in the studio for just a second, and then when I get off, I'll talk to you and we'll wrap it up. But I thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Ro, for all your insight and your information. Thank you for your servant's heart and for your gratitude in giving back. And so we know that you are going to do great things and you are a blessing. So salute to you, and you just continue to be the best you can be.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate
All
you.
right.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. We just thank you for taking the time to learn just a little bit more about how we can connect with one another, network with one another, and help and encourage and build one another up. There are resources out there. There are things out there for us as minorities that we can be privy to. We just have to have the right information. We have to have the right people in our corner. We have to have the know-how to ask for help sometimes. And so thank you for allowing me to bring this platform to you, so that way it can give you an ear to hear what's going on out there, and also a voice to speak your truth and to stand up for what you believe in and to grab a hold of something bigger than what we are. So I thank you for your time today. And if you have a suggestion, a thought, a business, a talent, information that can help someone else, resources that can develop people, come on the show and talk about it. If you have something that you've dealt with, a breakthrough, or anything that has led you from one place to another, that's helped you be a better person, to help you get from a place of despair to a place of growth, share that, because our testimonies are what help others. Our testimonies actually help us as well. So when we talk about our things, we can bring those things to light, and we can be assured that we're not the only ones that's going through it. There's other people out there. Again, right now in this time where COVID is going on, the world is shut down. This is a time of peace and a time of rest. It may seem like craziness is going on, but truthfully, you can rest assured knowing that God is working it all out. And in his timing, it's going to be okay. And so just remember, as always, you were created for a purpose, and have a blessed